Hi, thanks for checking in. It's almost summertime, and when you think of summer foods, you usually think of hot dogs. You can only have them so many ways, you grill them. So what we're going to do today is we're going to dress them up with a little something that's pretty popular here in northern New Jersey. If you want to know what it is, stick around and we're going to show you. So here in northern New Jersey we've got, believe it or not, called Texas Wieners, all the way dogs, chili dogs. There's quite a few popular places in this area. You've got Rutt's Hut, you've got the Hot Grill. There's also another place that maybe not so known as Pappy's, Falls View. There's all over, and this is just like in the area. Dave's Dogs down the street. And they all have one thing in common. They've got this, they call it a chili sauce, but there's no beans in it. Basically, it's a meat sauce that you just cook down for a real long time until it becomes a thick sauce. And that's what we're going to do today. I had this recipe for a while. I did it, I think, 2 times. And it came out pretty good. You can freeze it, and it's actually a recipe that I found that's titled of one of the most popular places for these types of hot dogs in the northern New Jersey area. I'm not going to mention the name, but let's just say the institution is one that I had already mentioned. So if that's going to help you, that's great. So this is what we're going to need. All right, you're going to need 2 pounds of chopped meat. I like using the 80-20, the more fat, the more flavor. You're going to need 1 cup chopped onions. I have a red onion here. I don't think it's going to matter, but I didn't want it to go to waste, so I'm using that. You're going to need about 6 ounces of ketchup. And you're going to need a couple tablespoons of brown mustard. And it's upside down because they're almost empty. So, you're also going to need 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoon of ginger, 1 tablespoon of cumin, 1.5 tablespoons chili powder, a teaspoon of salt, 3/4 of a tablespoon of paprika, 3/4 of a tablespoon of onion powder, 1/2 a tablespoon of granulated garlic. The actual recipe calls for garlic salt, but I like to control the salt and let the person eating it control the salt. And then this is the odd part. This is the 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. I've adjusted those in the past because those two can be like real overpowering if you're not careful. So don't use any more than the 1/4 teaspoon. You're also going to need, the recipe calls for 2 8-ounce cans of tomato paste. They only come in 6-ounce cans. So I got 1 can that's 12 ounces. That should be good enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with browning the meat, and then when you brown it, chop it up as much as you can, and get rid of most of the liquid, leave some of the fat behind. I'm going to start this off on medium-high heat. Just put a little drizzle of olive oil. So we're going to brown the meat before we add any of the seasoning to it. So there you go. it here. I'm going to break this up. We'll get this going. Once this cooks down, we'll be back. Okay, so it drained off some of the water, the fat. All I did was I tilted it, pressed a ladle in there, scooped up the water, and put it in there. So while that's continuing to cook, all these spices we're going to put in a bowl and just mix them up real good. Alright, so I put them all in the bowl and then mix them all up. Now we're going to add this and mix it up. Make sure you coat all the chopped meat. You can see the chopped meat starting to break down, and by the time this is done, it'll be so fine that you won't even know that there's meat in there. So I'm going to turn the heat down. I'm going to add the onions. And if you've had this type of sauce before, you'll start to recognize the smell. The smell is starting to smell like hot dog sauce. Okay, so I'm going to add, I forgot to mention earlier, 2 cups of water. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit for now, because I gotta open the tomato sauce, and this way the meat won't burn. So now I'm going to add that Worcestershire sauce. Just going to add a little water to rinse that, make sure we get all of it. Tomato paste. Okay, I'm just coating everything. I'm going to coat it and cook it for a little bit before I add the rest of the water. Alright, so we've cooked it down a little bit. I used some of the water to rinse the can, that's why it's red. So now we're going to add the rest of the water. And this is going to simmer for at least an hour on low. And you want to make sure it's a sauce. So you can add water as needed. So I'm turning it down to a simmer. Now I'm going to add the mustard. Alright, so now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of spicy brown mustard. So I ran out of spicy brown mustard and I had to open up another one. So I'm just going to guess on what the balance is going to be. At this point you could taste. So I'm going to say about it. I think there was only about a teaspoon that made it in there. Teaspoon and a half, so that should be the 2 tablespoons that the recipe requires. Now this is where I kind of deviate from the recipe when it comes to the ketchup. To me, 6 ounces is a lot, and that 6 ounces will probably make it sweet. That being said, I think I'm only going to put about 2 tablespoons. And let's see how that is. I'm going to stay with 2 tablespoons. I don't want it too sweet. So now we just simmer it for at least an hour. As you can see, we're almost there. There's just one thing that I want to do. You can see the sauce. Most of these hot dog places that have these sauce, it's a little bit looser. You can keep it like this, or you could put it in a blender. But if you put it in a blender, I would wait until it cools off a little bit. Or if you're lucky enough to have an emulsion blender, a hand blender, then you can use this, and I think that's what I'm going to do. You can see how it got looser. And that is really good. Alright, so we're done. So I think what I'm going to do now, it happens to be dinner time, it's about 5 o'clock. I'm going to cook me up some dogs, serve this up, and I'll show you what it looks like. I'm boiling up dogs, not frying them. Figure hot dogs are unhealthy enough, so let me just boil them. We're almost done. Dogs are ready. I've got buns here that I put mustard and ketchup on. I'm gonna put some onion. I like mine underneath. By the way, if you ever mix onion with parsley, it's pretty good. I've seen it served that way. And now, okay, so now this is the sauce. All right. This will be good for fries. Then melt some mozzarella cheese on it. And there you have it. Hot dog sauce. Okay, so this is fairly easy, straightforward. I hope you like it. It's pretty close to what we get in the hot dog places around here in northern New Jersey. So if you like it, comment, subscribe. It's all appreciated. If you have any ideas, put them in the comments. I'll have a list of ingredients and instructions on how to make this in the description of the video. Alright? Thanks for stopping by.